If you ever feel like you never have time to meal prep, I'm gonna show you exactly how we prep a whole week in 60 minutes, minimal washing up. We've got endless possibilities with these foods, and every single ingredient that I use, I promise you probably already got in your fridge. So 60 minutes, let's get our week of food prepped up. Let's go. So the first thing that we're going to do with this meal prep method is our food shop. Now, I know food shops can be so overwhelming when you go in the shop and you think, what the hell do I buy? What the hell am I going to make with all this? Keep it simple and just get 3 of everything. So we've got 3 protein sources. This week we've got our chicken mince, beef mince, and some good old chicken breasts. Get 3 to 4 veg sauces. So we've got some broccoli, some beans, some sort of salad. Then we've got some flavors that we're gonna mix in there for the sauces. These are pretty much standard pantry basics. I'll go through them as we actually do make them. And then we've just got some good old rice and some sweet potatoes as our carbs. That is the extent that you need it. Don't go overboard with it. You can go back out to the shop and get some more when you need it. But the main important thing is to get your basics, and then we can mix and match them and pop them in whatever meals that we want. So the first thing we're going to start off with is our oven-based things. For the oven prep, we've got our veggies. So simply this week, we're just going to be doing some roasted veggies. So we've got some peppers. Simply just chop them straight up, really roughly chop them. I always like to choose like 2 or 3 veggies every single week and just cycle them around every single week as well. When you go in the shop, choose another 2 or 3 veggies to keep the variety there, but literally just keep it as simple as possible. We're gonna go in there with some onions as well. Keep it dead rough when you're chopping them. Honestly, there is no such thing as aesthetic cutting over here. We're just here for efficiency. I just grabbed some green beans, chop the ends off, and that's tray number 1 done for our veggies. We're just gonna spray with a little bit more oil, and we're going to season that up with literally whatever seasons you've got in there. I just always go simple and do some salt, pepper, and mixed herb. And we're going to pop that first tray straight into the oven and move on to the second. The second one is our sweet potatoes. So with these bad boys, we're gonna weigh out 300 grams. Really simple and easy way to do this is to grab a tray, put it on your weighing scales, and then you know exactly how much you're gonna put in there. I just literally put them in discs like this. Really easy, really simple. And it's the exact same with these ones. Simply just gonna season it with salt, pepper, mixed herbs. Give it a bit of a shake about to get it all covered in the seasonings. And there's tray number 2. Pop it straight in the oven with the other veg. And then for the last thing that we're going to be putting in the oven is our first protein prep, which is our chicken. So again, take another tray, pop it on the weighing scales. For this chicken, it's going to be like a garlicky, herby based chicken. So we're simply just going to grab 3 breasts, so it'd be around about 500 grams worth, and just whack all of them 3 straight on the tray there. With this chicken, we're just going to heat it dead simple. So we're just going to have a tablespoon of garlic, some pepper, some salt, and a little bit of mixed herb. Get your hands all involved, and we're literally just gonna make sure every chicken has got a bit of everything going on. And then on the other side of the tray that we've got chicken on, we're gonna make our roasted broccoli. We've literally just got some 10% broccoli. Again, just get that out of the packet and straight onto the tray there. And we're gonna be dead boring again and just whack the exact same seasonings on it. And the last thing we're gonna do is grab some garlic, because it's gonna be used for one of our sauces that we're gonna make. Pop it in some foil with a little bit of oil on there. And that's tray number 3 done. We've prepped all of our veg sauces now. We've taken 1 carb off and 1 protein. So the next carb sauce that we're gonna make is my high protein rice. And you're probably thinking, Bethany, how on earth do we make rice high protein? I'm gonna show you. With rice, make sure you always weigh this shit out. You underestimate rice so much. We are gonna need 150 grams, which is gonna be 3 servings of 50. So we're just gonna weigh out 150 grams. And you're probably thinking, how is that gonna feed 3 people? But it will, trust me. Trust the process until the end. This is like how to make rice 101. First thing we need to do is wash it. So literally just fill it up with water, give it a little massage, and do you see how all the water goes like really white? That's all of like the starchy bits coming off. Just gonna drain that off. And I normally do this like once or twice just to get all the starch bits off. What this does, it makes it really, really fluffy. It doesn't make it stick all together. Next thing we're gonna do is whack in a load of frozen veggies. It's basically gonna bulk the rice up and double it in size. Pop a load of that in there. Then we're gonna add our liquids. Rule of thumb with rice is double water to the amount of rice that we've got. So we've got 150 grams of rice in there. We're gonna pour in 300 ml of water. And then this is a secret to making it high in protein. This is just just chicken bone broth. You can get it from M&S, you can get it from pretty much any supermarket. I'm literally just gonna pop in 3 of the discs. Each disc has about 6 grams of protein in each. Each serving we're adding on like 6-7 grams of protein, which is a game changer. And then the only other thing that we're gonna add just to give it a little bit more flavor is a bit of paprika. So just add that in with the water. Give that a good mix up. And then just pour that straight into the rice veg concoction. And the only thing that we're going to do now is pop that on to boil. So we want to get up to like bubbling and boiling. And then once it's at that point, we're just going to put it on simmer and then pop the lid on top. So the second protein sauce that we're going to make is our chipotle beef. Now this can be used in absolutely everything. And I'm going to show you all the things that we're going to use it in at the end of the video. But we're going to start off with our 5% beef mince. Take it over to the hob, spray your pan with a bit of oil, and we're going to get the beef straight in there as it is. Once the beef's kind of starting to sizzle away, we're going to pop all of the seasonings straight in there. 2 tablespoons of garlic, tablespoon of lazy chili, some mixed herbs, some paprika, good old salt and pepper. When the beef's at a point where it's nearly ready, we're gonna pop in some tomato puree. Just get a good load on there. This is about 20 grams. We're just gonna mix that all in there. It'll kind of like thicken up the remnants of the sauce that we've got in the beef. Make it nice and sticky, nice and thick. So the beef is cooking and it's done. This is what we're looking like. Really sticky, really easy. We're just gonna pop that straight into the dish here. This will serve 3 at around about 165 grams of beef each. Now moving on our last protein source, which is our chicken patties. You will never stop making these once you start. Honestly, they are insane. We're gonna grab our chicken mince. You can get the 5% one from most supermarkets. It's really cheap actually and really easy way to get your protein in. The only vegetable that we're gonna use in this is a shallot. You can use white onion if you don't have a shallot. Dice that up in really small pieces and pop that straight into a big bowl. Then simply get all of the mince and whack that straight in there with it. And all we need to do from here is season it all up. So we've got some paprika. You'll notice that I am using a lot of the same seasonings. These are just like my staples that go in absolutely everything. We've got our salt and pepper and our garlic and chili. And the last thing we're going to put in the chicken mince is some mayonnaise. This is just really good to make it like a little bit creamier, but kind of bind it all together. You'd usually use something like an egg, but this is just way easier to whack in. And we're going to get 10 grams and put that straight in. And this is the horrible part that no one likes, but you just got to get into it. Get your hands, get them all dirty, and we're literally just gonna get everything all mixed up, get it all involved. You can use a spoon, but honestly, your hands are the easiest way to do this. Next up, grab literally the biggest pan you own, because we're gonna make 9 patties all together, so we need a lot of room for them to sizzle away. With this one, if you are eating them all yourself, do not bother trying to weigh every single gram of the patty. Like, there is no problem. You are gonna eat it all anyway, so it doesn't matter if one's bigger than the other one. Really big trick when you're doing anything like meatballs or patties. Wet your hands first and it'll stop it all sticking. It'll kind of just slide off. So we're gonna make 9 patties here. All you need to do is grab a little bit of chicken mince, put it in a bowl like that, pop it straight on the pan. So we've got our 9 patties all in there. All we need to do is come over to the hob, whack them on the heat, and then just take a little spatula and just press them down, just so they look less like meatballs and more like patties. We're about 5 minutes into them sizzling away and they're looking pretty good. So we're just gonna flip them over. They should be looking really nice and brown on the other side like that. Flip them all over, another 5 minutes and they should be done. So rice is nice and fluffy, all done. Look how much rice we've got there. That's done. We're gonna pop it straight into a Tupperware, ready for the week. Okay, chicken patties are done. Look at those. Wow. All we need to do is pop them straight in a glass dish and they're ready for the entire week. We've done everything else over there and now the oven things are ready for us to take out. Look how efficient that's been. We've been doing this for less than an hour now. We've got a full week's basically prepped. All we need to do now is pop everything in the dishes and ready to go. So we've got our roasted veg there, our sweet potatoes, and our garlic chicken and roasted broccoli. The absolute last thing that we need to prep is our sauces. If you know anything about a sauce, you know that you get about this much for about 1,000 calories. And when we're losing fat, like, we don't want to be wasting calories on things like sauces. So I'm going to show you my favorite 3 sauces that we can mix and match with everything, and you'll use these on repeat throughout the whole entire week. So get yourself 3 little dishes and we're going to prep them all up. So the first one is our chipotle sauce. This is going to go really well with the beef. It is honestly unreal. For every single sauce, we're going to start off with a base of 100 grams of yogurt. I would recommend a slightly higher fat yogurt if you can. Obviously, if you go for like 0%, it's going to be less in calories. I just think it brings out much more of like a saucy taste. For this one, we're going to be using some paprika. As you know me, I do just season with my eyes, but if you do want measurements, it's about a tablespoon. Bit of salt and pepper, a few chilies, 10 to 20 grams of tomato puree, and one last thing, a squeeze of lime. Stir that all together, and that is sauce number 1 done. Moving on to the next sauce, we've got our garlic creamy herb sauce. Again, we're going to start off with 100 grams of our Greek yogurt, and then we're going to grab the garlic that we'll put in with the rest of the chicken and the veg, if you remember. This should be absolutely beautiful right now. The garlic should literally just squeeze right out of it. Literally just get a couple of the bulbs in there and just squeeze it in. Look at that. We don't want loads, just about 2 or 3 cloves. We're gonna pop a little bit of salt and pepper in there as well, and some good old mixed herbs. Give that a nice mix together. If you do have like a food processor and you want it like super duper smooth, you can eat your heart out with that. You know me, I don't like doing washing up, so we are keeping it bitty, keeping it a little bit more lumpy. The flavors are still all there. This gives it like a tzatziki style creamy Greek flavor. Now that is good. Wow. Now I think I've saved the best to last. This is my andouille creamy based sauce. It's like andouille, honey, chilies, all the good flavors. So again, 100 grams of Greek yogurt straight in there. Grab yourself some andouille paste. This is from M&S. You can pick it up from pretty much any supermarket, I believe now. We're gonna grab 10 grams of that and 10 grams of honey. I think this has got to be my favorite sauce out of all of them. So our 3 sauces are done. I'm gonna show you now how you can make these into really simple and quick bowls. The idea of this is you've got all your meals. When it comes to lunchtime now, you're just gonna have to pop them in a bowl and you're done. This is the main thing. We don't want the same meal every single day, but we just wanna mix and match them. So I'm gonna show you 3 of my favorite bowls that we're gonna make. And I promise you, you're gonna have these on repeat. So first bowl is my spicy beef chipotle rice bowl. So we're gonna start off with the beef as our protein source. And the way that we're gonna build each bowl is thinking about our protein, our carb source, our fiber source, and our fat source. Because that essentially is what makes up the plate that's gonna enable us to stay less hungry for a while and help optimize our fat loss. Get about 1/3 of the beef mixture in there. Rice is our carb source. Get about 1/3 of that rice in there. You can see how much volume we've got from this rice as well. It is absolutely incredible. For our veggies, we're gonna have some of the roast veggies that we've got here. And then for some extra volume, we're actually gonna pack a load of greens in there. I just like to roughly chop it up, and that can go nicely with that on there. For the sauce, we're gonna be using our chipotle sauce, obviously, for the beef. So simply, there's gonna be no aesthetic way of doing this, but to just whack it on. Again, you want to be using about 1/3 of the mixture that we've got in here. And then last but not least, because this is kind of like a taco bowl, we're going to add about 10 grams of cheese for our fat sauce. And then we have it. Bowl number 1 is done. Okay, next bowl we're going to make is our garlic chicken salad bowl. So we've got our chicken. We're just going to grab 1 chicken breast out there. Chop this up into little slices. For the base of the bowl, to get a load of volume in there, we're gonna pop some salad down. Then all we're gonna do is layer all the other ingredients on top. So we've got our chicken. We're gonna add some sweet potatoes into this one, about 1/3 of what we've got in there. We're gonna use some of our roasted broccoli and finish off a good dollop of our garlicky sauce on there. And then if you like seeds, if you want a few more fats in there, I'm just gonna add a few more seeds. This is gonna give us fiber, and it's also gonna boost our fat source up as well. And that is bowl number 2 done. And then last but not least, we've got our breakfast bowl. This is something that you could have at breakfast, or you could have like a little breakfast twist at lunchtime. Again, we're gonna start it off the base with loads and loads of greens to bulk that all up. So we've got some rocket, we've also got a few salad leaves. We're gonna pop some sweet potatoes in there. We're gonna get 3 of our patties, a load of roasted veg. For our fat sauce here, we're just gonna use a little bit of cheese again. Put that in middle. And then sauce, we're gonna dig in with our andouille sauce. Again, just whack it all over there. And that is everything. There are so many possibilities. I've just shown you how you can make 3, but you can do whatever you like with these. You can mix them up however you like. I'm gonna dig in. Let me know what combinations you end up making with all these foods, and let me know if you want another video like this, because I've got tons of ideas coming your way. But yeah, go and dig in. Make sure you subscribe so you see next week's video, and I'll see you in another one.